neighborhood on the edge of the city, right next to a vast garbage dump, lived Juanito, an 8-year-old boy with a spark of joy in his eyes despite the difficult situation in which he found himself. Their home, a humble little house made of wood and cardboard, stood among mountains of waste, where the thick air mixed with the smell of rot. Juanito and his family barely had enough to survive, and each day was a constant struggle to find food and shelter. Despite his circumstances, Juanito never lost his kind spirit and his desire to do good for others. Every day, before the sun rose over the mountains of garbage, Juanito helped his mother collect objects that could be useful. Sometimes they found small treasures among the trash, like broken toys that Juanito carefully repaired or worn books that he eagerly devoured in search of knowledge. One day, while exploring the corners of the garbage dump in search of something that could help his family, Juanito discovered something that shone among the waste. He carefully moved aside piles of trash until he found the source of the flash, a flute, apparently abandoned in the dirt. The flute had a strange glow, as if it were infused with magic. Intrigued by his discovery, Juanito carefully cleaned the flute and blew a note. To his surprise, the melody that came from the flute was more beautiful than he had ever heard. It was as if the flute had a life of its own, responding to the desires of his heart. From that day on, Juanito spent hours practicing the flute, letting his melody rise above the mountains of trash and reach the hearts of those who listened to him. But Juanito did not play the flute for his own pleasure. He did it in the hope of bringing joy to others, especially those who, like him, lived in poverty and despair. Over time, the fame of Juanito and his magic flute spread throughout the town. The poor and helpless came to hear him play, finding comfort and hope in the sweet melodies that emanated from his flute. Juanito became a symbol of generosity and kindness, showing that even in the darkest places there is always light and beauty to share. As the days passed, the lives of Juanito and his family began to change. The townspeople, moved by their altruistic spirit, began to help them in various ways, providing them with food, clothing, and a safer roof over their heads. But for Juanito, the true reward was always seeing the smiles on the faces of those he had touched with his music. Over time, Juanito understood that the true magic lay not in the flute he had found in the garbage dump, but in the power of love and compassion to transform lives. And so, as he continued to play his magic flute to bring joy to others, Juanito knew that, no matter how humble his background, there was always something extraordinary that could arise from the most unexpected.